I never thought I'd be the kind of dad sitting in a parking lot at midnight showing his teenagers screenshots of their mum's affair. But here we are. So I guess I should back up because this whole thing is honestly still surreal to me. I'm David, I'm 42, and until about 6 months ago I thought I had a pretty solid marriage. Not perfect, like we had our issues, but solid. My wife Claire and I have been together for 17 years, married for 15. We have 2 kids, Molly, who's 16, and Hunter, who's 14. Claire was a stay-at-home mum for most of their childhood, which was great, honestly. We made it work financially because I inherited my dad's house when he passed like 10 years ago, so we didn't have a mortgage payment eating us alive. I work in commercial HVAC, make decent money, nothing crazy but enough. Claire went back to work about 2 years ago when Hunter started high school, got a job doing admin work at a physical therapy clinic. I was actually happy about it because she seemed happier, like she had her own thing going on again. Here's the thing though, and I need to say this up front because it matters later. My dad was not a good guy. He was mean. He drank. He hit my mum, and he hit me. I spent my entire childhood walking on eggshells, and I swore when I had kids I would never be that person. Never. I've been in therapy for years about this stuff. I don't drink. I've never laid a hand on Claire or the kids. I don't even really yell. Like, my biggest parenting flaw is probably that I'm too lenient, if anything, because I'm so scared of being him. So when Claire started saying I was abusive, it absolutely destroyed me. It started maybe 4 months ago. Really subtle at first. The kids would make these comments like, "Mum says you don't let her have friends," or "Mum says you get angry when she goes out." And I'm standing there like, what the hell are you talking about? I literally encouraged her to go out. I was the one saying she should have girls' nights and do stuff for herself because she'd been so focused on the kids for so long. But it escalated. Molly started getting cold with me, wouldn't really talk to me beyond like one-word answers. Hunter was a bit better, but even he seemed wary. And Claire started going out more and more, 2-3 nights a week sometimes, always girls' night or drinks with co-workers or self-care time. And whenever I asked normal questions like, "Oh, who are you meeting?" or "What time will you be home?" she'd get this look on her face like I was interrogating her. Then she started saying it out loud to me, saying I was controlling, that I was emotionally manipulative, that she felt like she was walking on eggshells around me. And I'm not going to lie, that last one really messed with me because that's literally how I felt as a kid with my dad. So I started questioning myself like, am I doing this without realizing it? Is there something wrong with me? I even brought it up with my therapist, and she was confused because she'd been working with me for years and knew my whole history. She basically said, "Look, asking your wife what time she'll be home isn't controlling. That's normal." But I was so in my head about it. The kids got worse. Molly barely spoke to me. She'd eat dinner in her room. When I tried to talk to her, she'd say she was tired or had homework. Hunter told me one day that Mum said I didn't respect her boundaries. I asked what boundaries I wasn't respecting, and he just shrugged and walked away. Claire's sister, Danielle, got involved too. She called me one night and basically lectured me about how Claire had been so unhappy for years, and I needed to give her space to figure herself out. I was like, "What are you talking about? We've been fine." And Danielle just scoffed and said Claire had been protecting me from the truth because she didn't want to hurt me. The whole conversation was insane. Even my own mum told me to just keep the peace. She said whatever was going on, I needed to think about the kids and not rock the boat. I think she was so traumatized from my dad that she just wanted me to avoid conflict at all costs. So I'm basically going crazy. My wife is out all the time. My kids won't talk to me. Everyone's telling me I'm the problem, and I'm sitting there thinking maybe I am. Maybe I'm broken in ways I don't even see. Then I found the messages. It was so stupid how it happened. Not even like some dramatic thing. Claire left her iPad on the kitchen counter, and it kept buzzing. I wasn't even trying to snoop. I literally just glanced at it to see if it was important because she was in the shower. And the preview on the screen said, "I can't wait to taste you again." I felt sick. Like immediately my hands started shaking and I couldn't breathe right. I picked up the iPad and it unlocked because we'd always had each other's passcodes, never been a thing. The message was from someone named Kyle. I scrolled up. I don't even want to repeat most of what I saw. It was explicit. It was detailed. It went back months. Months. They were talking about hotels they'd been to, talking about how excited they were that things were moving forward with the divorce, talking about how the kids would come around eventually once they understood. And then I found the other stuff. Messages to her friends where she was strategizing. Actually strategizing how to turn the kids against me. She literally wrote, "I need them to see him as the bad guy so the transition is easier." There were messages to Danielle about how she was going to take the kids and the house because she deserved it after putting up with me for so long. But the worst part, the absolute worst part, was a message thread with Kyle where she said, "I told Molly today that he monitors my phone and gets angry when I talk to male co-workers. She looked so sad for me. It's working." I threw up. I actually ran to the bathroom and threw up. She was lying to our children. She was systematically destroying my relationship with them so she could leave me for this guy and not look like the bad guy. She was using my biggest fear, my biggest trauma, as a weapon against me. And here's the thing, I found out later that Kyle works at the same physical therapy clinic. He's one of the therapists. They'd been having an affair basically since she started working there. This whole time she was telling people I was controlling and abusive. She was sleeping with her co-worker in hotels on girls' nights. I took screenshots of everything. I don't even know why exactly, I was just on autopilot. Sent them to myself. Then I put the iPad back and finished making dinner like a robot because what else was I supposed to do? The kids were coming down. Claire was getting out of the shower, and I just moved through it in this fog. That was 3 weeks ago. And here's where the impossible choice came in. I had a custody evaluation scheduled in 2 weeks because Claire had filed for divorce a month earlier. I didn't even contest it at first because I was so confused and convinced I was the problem. But now I knew the truth and I had 2 weeks to figure out what to do. My lawyer said I should wait to tell the kids. Just present the evidence to the custody evaluator and let it play out through the proper channels. My therapist said I needed to think carefully about how this would affect Molly and Hunter. Everyone kept saying don't put the kids in the middle. But my kids thought I was a monster. They thought their mum was some victim. Molly was 16, Hunter was 14. They were old enough to testify about which parent they wanted to live with. And they were going to choose her because they thought I was abusive. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I'd go to work and just stare at HVAC units pretending to work while my brain spiraled. At home, I'd try to talk to the kids, and they'd barely acknowledge me. Claire was playing the perfect victim. Lots of sad looks and heavy sighs. Lots of going to her room to give me space, which made me look like the aggressive one. About a week before the evaluation, Molly told me at dinner that she wanted to live with Mom full time. Just said it out loud in front of everyone. Claire got this look on her face like she was trying not to smile. Hunter looked down at his plate, and I just nodded, because what could I say? That night Claire cornered me in the kitchen and said we needed to talk about logistics. She said since Molly was clear about her preference and Hunter would probably follow his sister, it made sense for me to just agree to her having primary custody. Said it would be less traumatic for everyone if I didn't fight it. Said she'd be generous with visitation as long as I worked on myself. I asked her what I needed to work on and she gave me this list. My trust issues, my need for control, my anger problem. I was standing there listening to her describe a person I'm not, and I realized she believed it. She'd told the lies so many times she actually believed them. Then she said something that made me snap. She said, "I know your dad was terrible to you, and I think you're repeating those patterns without realizing it. I've been reading about generational trauma, and I really think therapy could help you see it. She was using my dead father against me, using the abuse I survived as proof I was an abuser. And she said it so gently, so kindly, like she was trying to help me. I told her I needed some air and left, drove to the gym parking lot and sat there. And I made a decision. I was going to tell the kids. Screw what everyone said about not putting them in the middle. They were already in the middle. They were in the middle of lies and manipulation and they deserved to know the truth. But I had to be smart about it. I couldn't just blow up and dump evidence on them, so I waited. The custody evaluation was on a Friday. On Thursday night, I asked Molly and Hunter if they'd go to dinner with me, just us. Claire made a face, but she couldn't really say no without looking bad. We went to this burger place they like. They were both kind of quiet, and I could tell they didn't want to be there. About halfway through, I just started talking. I said I knew things had been weird lately. I said I knew Mum had said some things about me. I said I understood why they might be confused or upset. Molly immediately got defensive. Said Mum didn't say things about me. Mum just told them the truth. I asked what truth. She said about how I don't respect Mum's independence, how I get upset when she has her own life, how I make her feel bad for wanting space. I stayed calm. I asked if they'd ever actually seen me do those things. Hunter looked uncomfortable. Molly said just because they haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I asked if Mum had told them about Kyle. The table got very quiet. Molly said, "Who's Kyle?" Hunter looked confused. I pulled out my phone. I showed them the messages. Not the explicit ones. I'm not a monster. but the ones about the affair, the ones about the divorce strategy, the ones where Claire admitted she was lying about me to turn them against me. I watched my daughter's face change. I watched my son start crying. Molly grabbed my phone and scrolled. She kept saying, "What is this?" over and over. Hunter asked if it was real and his voice cracked. I said yes. I said I was sorry they had to find out this way, but I couldn't let them think I was someone I'm not. Molly started crying then too. She said Mum told her I was the reason for the divorce, that I was mean to her, that I made her feel small. She said she'd been so angry at me and now she didn't know what to think. We sat in that booth for 2 hours. I answered every question. I showed them more evidence when they asked. I told them I understood if they needed time to process. I told them I loved them no matter what. When we got home, Claire was waiting. She took one look at their faces and knew. She asked what I did and Molly just brushed past her and went upstairs. Hunter followed. Claire turned on me and her mask slipped. She said I was a bastard for involving the children, said I was manipulative and cruel, said I was going to regret this. I told her the custody evaluator was going to see the same evidence tomorrow and she could explain it to them. She called me some names I won't repeat and locked herself in our bedroom. The evaluation the next day was brutal. The evaluator asked the kids who they wanted to live with. Molly said me. Hunter said me. Claire looked shocked. The evaluator asked them why, and Molly just said, "Because my mum is a liar." Claire tried to do damage control, tried to say I'd manipulated them with fake evidence. But the evaluator had already seen the screenshots by then because my lawyer submitted them. Claire tried to say I was twisting things, that Kyle was just a friend, that the messages were taken out of context. The evaluator asked her to explain what context would make "I can't wait to taste you again" appropriate between co-workers. Claire didn't have an answer. I got primary custody. Claire got visitation every other weekend and one weeknight. She was furious. She tried to hug Molly after the evaluation and Molly pulled away. Hunter wouldn't even look at her. That was 2 months ago now. Claire has tried everything. She's called, texted, shown up at the house. The kids won't see her. Molly blocked her number. Hunter unblocked her but doesn't respond to messages. Claire's been posting on social media about how I turned the kids against her, how she's a victim of parental alienation. But our friends know the truth now. Her sister Danielle even called to apologize to me after Claire admitted the affair to her family. I honestly never wanted this. I didn't want my kids to lose their mum. I just wanted them to know I wasn't the villain she made me out to be. But she did this. She chose the lies. She chose Kyle over them, and now she's dealing with the consequences. Here's an update since people were asking. Kyle broke up with Claire about 3 weeks after the custody decision. Guess having an affair is different from actually dating someone with all their messy baggage. Claire tried to come back, actually asked if we could work things out for the kids. I said no. The divorce finalized last week. Molly asked if she could start therapy to process everything, and I obviously said yes. She's doing okay, I think. Still angry at her mum, but working through it. Hunter is quieter about it, but he seems relieved, honestly. Like he doesn't have to pretend anymore. Claire's last visitation weekend, they both bailed. Just said they didn't want to go. I didn't force them. She sent me this long message about how I was destroying her relationship with them, but I'm not the one who had an affair and lied about abuse. Sometimes I still can't believe she actually did all that. The person I married wouldn't have done that, but I guess I didn't really know who I married after all.